Hello, friends, and welcome to the live stream. It's good to have you all here. It's nice to be back. Nice to be back in the gamer chair for the live stream. Hello to the chat. Let me know if you can hear me and what the music kind of levels are at. I can always turn it up or down. We'll have to adjust it as we go on because each track is different. But it's nice to be back. I'm back in my old bedroom. I've got my beard back. I've got my makeup on. I'm feeling slightly more rested. I've got my Cosmonaut t-shirt, which arrived after the stream, of course. I'm still waiting to. I'm still like catching up on sleep, but I'm feeling a little bit more rested. It's good to have you all back. Thank you, Stephen, for being the first super chat of the night. Thank you so much. Yeah, welcome back, everybody. It's lovely to have you all here. If this is your first time joining us for a post-mortem live stream, we like to keep things chill. We like to have coloured lights and candles. We like to be relaxed. We like the chat to be a nice place. If there are any super chats, then I always do my best to shout them out. If you have questions, it's usually best to keep them simple if you're super chatting. If you're like, what do you think about like page 70,000,005 of like Gramsci and Chomsky's debate on this? You're just not going to get a satisfying answer. So if you're asking super chat questions, probably best to keep them simple. And if I miss any, then I apologise. But thank you to Stephen for being our first super chat of the night. And if you are joining us for the first time, then we always like to start the stream by lighting a candle. Here we go. There we go. Oh, I put my bin outside. Never mind. Thank you for those. Thank you for those super chats just coming in. Yeah, welcome along, everybody. It's nice to be back. Sorry, I'm getting nice messages. Good evening and welcome along. It's good to have you all here. So, what I usually like to do is we'll go through the last video that I did, which in this case was one about climate grief. And I'll talk about what my notes to self were, what I would have done differently, what some of the feedback was, some of the comments. Yeah, and we usually have a pretty relaxing time of it. And yeah. I'm aware that Mia is also streaming at the same time. Sorry, Mia. I'm going on holiday tomorrow, so this is the last time I could do the stream for a week. But it is good to have you all here. Yes, you do get a double welcome if it's your first time. Thank you so much for coming along. And wow, thank you to Benjamin Morrison for that super chat. That is astonishing. Legend. Thank you. Thank you. Investment. Yeah, welcome along. Stonks and all. And to Anima Visionary, who says, what's your ideal pet? I'd love a cat. That'd be great, but I can't because I live in a society or in a flat. So yeah, welcome along. Nice to have you here. Let's go through. And we'll also talk a little bit about the Shakespeare stream, obviously. We'll also open some mail because I've got a big, whole big pile of mail from the cheeky old PO Box. Thank you, Colts fan, for that. So yeah, why don't we crack right on? So the last video I did was on climate grief. I can show it to you. Here it is. That's not right. There it is. It's this one, the one with this. That's a good frame to stuff on. In general, I was pretty pleased with it. I thought it came together quite well. Yeah, I was actually especially happy with with the script for this one, because the script was quite tight. I mean, you'll notice it's less than 30 minutes. It's less than 30 minutes all told, and that's so in between in between drafts 3 and 4, I cut out like 5 or 6 minutes worth of material, and then in the final edit of the video, it lost like another minute. So it was I was pretty pleased. Like, it was pretty tight, and it was like very slick, and it flowed well. There weren't a lot of digressions or like weird stuff, but it all sort of fit together quite well. So I was pretty pleased with it. It went well. So people are commenting in the chat on the costume. So the costume was made by Quill, who's a costumer who got in touch with me and said, hey, I make costumes, and I'd love to make something for one of your videos. And I sort of put that email kind of on one side. Thank you, Swimfellow, for that super chat. I put the video on one side, the email on one side from Quill, and then I was planning the costume for this video, and I remembered that they had emailed me, and I said, oh, like, I bet they'd be able to make a costume that's like better than what I wanted. So that I gave them the brief of like post-apocalyptic funeral, like a funeral for planet Earth. I don't know who Dick Grayson is, Wendy Nerd, but thank you for that super chat. I gave them the brief of like post-apocalyptic funeral, and this is what they came up with, and it ended up being like quite Statue of Liberty with the sort of spikes on it, which I quite liked, because so the arsonist's monologue, can show you this bit. Thank you to Matsy for that super chat. I just recommend all the reading in the description of this video. So the Statue of Liberty thing kind of contrasted quite well with the bit at the end of the arsonist monologue, where he like flips the Statue of Liberty poem. Hi, so Quill's actually in the chat. So what I can do, Quill, is I can give you the power of moderation. Or at least I thought I could. Yes, I can. How do I? So Quill, I will now. I dub thee moderator. There you go. So Quill made that excellent costume, which sort of had like Statue of Liberty vibes, which contrasted quite well with the arsonist monologue, where he flips the script on the Statue of Liberty thing. I believe Quill actually has a video about how they made the costume. The costume is called like Odradek, which a few people picked up on. That that's a reference to Kafka, and it's also something that that Timothy Morton, thanks Barry Herbers, My Chemical Romance. It's also something that Timothy Morton talks about. Odradek is an object in Kafka who like is a weird, unclassifiable object that also the protagonist of the I think it's like Troubles of a Family Man or something, worries that Odradek might outlive him, and it's like a weird object that doesn't have any purpose but also is like a person. So there's a little shout out to Kafka and to Timothy Morton. I named the character Odradek. In the original draft of the script, there was like a lot more story, and like Odradek was more of a character. In this one, Odradek's like basically just a look. In the original draft, there was a lot more story, and I was originally toying with the idea that we would have two characters, like this scientist and then this sort of end-of-the-world priest, and then you would realise at the end that they're the same person, but like one of them is from the future. But as I got down into the script more and more and did more and more drafts, I realised that that wasn't really any need for that. So it became less and less of a character and more just of a look. But at that point, I had already commissioned Quill, and they were already doing fantastic work. So I just sort of let them go, and just ended up having a badass costume just to do a normal presenter in. So Odradek wasn't really like a character, although originally they were going to be. But that's what the costume. I mean, I still got it, like, and it is amazing. I love it a lot. It's really, really cool. And it was like very nicely backlit, which I enjoyed a lot. I was pleased with how the script was. It was pretty tight. I think I could have talked a little bit more about what they call like climate apartheid. I think so. It was pretty tight, but it was also there was opportunity for maybe a little bit of expansion in places. There was originally a section in there about like how the media talks about climate change. So like how PBS Hot Mess talks about it. and how like Last Week Tonight talks about climate change, and also like H-Bomb and Natalie's videos on climate. But that sort of got cut. I tended to, so I was kind of being slightly critical of the way that a lot of climate change media, including all of those examples, like tends to focus on like the science stuff and not so much like the moral stuff, and take the discussion beyond that. But that all ended up getting cut out, and the only bits that survived were like the joke about Neil deGrasse Tyson and the reference to Last Week Tonight. So it would have fit in. I mean, I was originally again going to be talking about like how climate change. No, PBS Hot Mess is a real channel. They talk about climate change. They're really good. Thanks, Lex Robinson, trans rights. So there was originally a bit in there about like the Werner Herzog documentary Grizzly Man and what it says about nature. But again, I just couldn't make it. I just couldn't make it like fit. If I'd been really clever, I could have structured the video around like how the media talks about climate change, and I could have leaned into the documentary format a little bit more. But I don't know. It just didn't end up working that way. So some people were curious about the documentary stuff with like the David Attenborough bits. Some people said, well, like, why is this here? So the reason I included that is at the start, the David Attenborough. So it's like David Attenborough is making a video about me making a video. So at the start, you are immediately encouraged to adopt a little bit of distance from what you're about to hear. And periodically you're reminded, like, this is a documentary about this YouTuber, like, you should be viewing this like from a distance as something on a screen that you're not a part of. So you're not doing what Mortem recommends. But because YouTube videos are necessarily like a little bit parasocial and you kind of get sucked into it, you are in fact, by watching the video, doing the very thing that Morton recommends that we do, which is like not viewing yourself as separate. So initially I like to say there's a separation here with the documentary format, but then over time you like gradually get closer and closer and closer. So that was where I was coming from with that. Also, it was fun. I think I could have lent into that a little bit more. I really enjoyed those bits. I had fun with them, and I thought they made, and also like they also broke up the script in a nice way. So there were some bits where I needed a segue between like different sections, and actually having the documentary stuff there, as I even said in the video, like does provide a nice segue and gives the audience a moment of pause. Like I enjoy when I write scripts, like when I put jokes or like meta bits in, I usually put them in at such a point where you've had like a lot of information, and it just gives people just a bit of a breathing, just a moment to go, okay, and now please continue. It's like change slide, please. Thank you, Iriandia, for that super chat as well. So yeah, it broke up the structure nicely, and it just sort of provided a nice beat change. Which, so again, like I enjoyed. I was quite pleased with the script for that reason. I'm just going to turn the music up a little bit. So. It's your boy, David Attenborough. And also, I can do that voice, so I wanted an excuse to use it. Like, I've been looking for an excuse to use it in videos for ages. Originally, it was just going to be... So if you watch to the end of the video, which I know you all did, because you're all good fans, if you watch all the way to the end, you will discover the final sort of end credit stinger where David Attenborough is... making a documentary about the kittens of Catgirl Manor. Originally, that was going to be like a quarter of the way in, and that was going to be the only David Attenborough joke. That was the only joke there was. And then I was like, oh no! And as I was like redrafting it, there was more David Attenborough stuff, and then I was like, oh no, the David Attenborough stuff doesn't go in here. It goes around the video like that. That's where it is. That's where it has to be. And so I was like, this is too good to cut. Like, so I just put it in as a post-credits gag. So yeah, that was really, really fun. Somebody asked, where did I get this footage of all these beautiful women dressed as catgirls? I just went downstairs to my living room and just hit record. This is just where I live. If you didn't watch to the end of the video, then you should, because it's really, really funny. But originally it was just going to be that was going to be the whole thing. But yeah, that's. Yeah, that's where that came from. So at one point I referenced a book called, I can even probably show it to you. I referenced a book called, thank you to Logan Myers for that super chat. Will the David Attenborough voice ever return? I don't know. Maybe. Oh, here it is. I referenced a book called Fully Automated Luxury Communism. Here it is, by Aaron Bastani. And Aaron actually got in touch. Aaron's a British journalist, and he follows me on Twitter. We're mutuals, and he messaged me, and he I think quite fairly brought me up on the fact that I sort of painted his book with quite broad strokes, which is fair. I painted him in the video as like just a technological solutionist, which he isn't. There's like more nuance to his book, and it's good. Alice Pup Terry's in the chat as well. Alice, if you send another message, then I'll give you the power of the wrench. But yeah, Aaron like fairly brought me up and said, simplified it slightly. He even invited me on Navarro Media, which is the network he runs, to sort of talk about it. And I'm not sure that's really necessary. Like, it wasn't really a video about the book Fully Automated Luxury Communism. It was about like climate change, and his book was just kind of a very small part of it. But I thought, he fairly brought me up on that, and I wanted to say on the stream that was a criticism of the video that I think is fair. That I could have gone into more detail on that. If it had been relevant, I would have done. And there were bits of Hallis already has the power of wrench. There were bits of Aaron's book that I enjoyed that were slightly different, so I may I might reference it again in future videos, so I might come back to it. Okie dokie, I think I can probably show you some comments as well. I've been on Navarro once before. I did an interview on Navarro a while ago, which was good fun, because I just dodged all the questions that they gave me. Durdle in the chat says that the discussion of solutionism was a little bit shallow. Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair cop, I'll take that. I mean, I could have, in fact I have, made an entire video on technological solutionism and the ideas of Evgeny Morozov, who you may have noticed I quickly referenced in the top right. I made in fact a whole series a while ago that was quite inspired by Evgeny Morozov's book, To Save Everything, Click Here, which is good. It's good fun. It's a good book that I really recommend it. But yeah, fair enough. That's a fair cop. I could have gone into a little bit more detail. Again, the script was tight. There was no fat on it, but it could have, I could have gone on longer. In fairness, I was making this video and organising the Shakespeare stream at the same time, so this one was quite, stripped down and. Well, not stripped down, because it was still... I was trying to write it simpler and simpler, and then around about the third draft, I read that article by Natasha Lennard on the far right co-option of environmental rhetoric, and then I was like, oh, damn, the arsonist has to be in this one, doesn't he? Damn. Oh, Wonderson Knight says, who are you and why is this recommended to me? What the fuck? Hello, Wonderson Knight. Welcome along. This is probably slightly confusing. My name's Ollie Thorne. I run a channel called Philosophy Tube. You're very, very welcome here. I sort of teach philosophy in a bit of a weird way, and every time I make an episode, I make a follow-up live stream to it where I talk about the feedback and how it went and what I would have done differently. So you're welcome to stick around if you like. Great to have you here. Welcome along. Thank you to Kuzikan Aerospace for that super chat as well. So I can now show you some of the comments that I got under my last video. I was surprised that I got I was surprised how many actual fash found the video. I won't show you their comments, but I was surprised by how many found it and left all kinds of very nasty things. But I'm not sure why they uniquely jumped on this one. Not sure. But anyway, I can show you some of the lovely comments that we got. So Ethan McNary was happy that I spent some time summarizing Indigenous American environmental philosophy, and yeah, I'm pleased with that. I thought it went well. I think again there could have been more. Originally there was a couple more paragraphs in there. I could have specified a little bit more about the Indigenous ideas that Dina Julia Whittaker talks about in the relationship between indigenous people and land. So you might remember I talked at one point about how people think, oh, there's like a piece of me in that land and a piece of that land in me, and that's why it's sacred, as opposed to the Abrahamic tradition where it's like, this is sacred because thanks again, because I can. As opposed to the Abrahamic tradition where it's sacred because something important allegedly happened there historically. So I guess one really good example of that would be, and the example that Dina Julia Whittaker uses is like, if you're trying to build a road through an indigenous American sacred valley, people will say, well, we're not stopping you going to the valley and like doing your ritual or whatever it is. Like, we aren't, it's not a restriction on your freedom of religion because you can still go there and do the thing. And the indigenous Americans like, you're kind of missing the point. It's not about like being able to go there and do the thing. It's that the thing itself is sacred. It's not like you go to church and you do the ritual or the sacrament. It's like the whole thing. Like, you're building a road through you're like tearing it up. And that's just kind of that. She talks a little bit about how it's kind of difficult to incorporate those ideas in sort of the legal structures that we currently have. No, I did not Google Murray Bookchin for this video. A couple of people brought me up and were like, hey, you should have done. Maybe, yeah. I wanted to have I knew I definitely wanted to have like the indigenous ideas have a big place in it and like build to them. Because I was reading, I knew originally I was going to do a video about like Timothy Morton, because I heard about him on PBS Hot Mess and his idea of hyperobjects, and I was like, oh, that's some cool like philosophy. And then I was like, oh, I should probably include a little bit on indigenous philosophy in here. And then I was reading the indigenous philosophy and I was like, this is the same stuff. Like, this is what Morton is saying, but like, it's grounded in activism. I was like, okay, maybe I need to like start with Morton and, build up to it and be like, okay, this is cool. And then some of the issues I was having with like some of the other environmental philosophy I was reading, I was like, oh, okay, like, I think these questions are kind of being answered by the indigenous philosophy, so I knew I needed to I needed to like build up to it. Thanks, Unprofessional Philosopher says, well done, just discovering your channel. Welcome, good to have you here. So I'm pleased that Ethan McNary said that, and actually some indigenous people got in touch to say that they enjoyed the video too, which is cool. Again, could have been more detail. I think that's my main note to self from this one, is that it could have been more, could have been longer, but it is what it is, and I'm pretty pleased with it. Hey, thanks, Kurtash Tanball. I'm wearing mine, just arrived today. So yeah, what else did we have? Who else? Oh yeah, so this was an interesting one. Rashad Abdul Salam said, like, the idea of there's a piece of me in that land and a piece of that land in me, like, how is that different from the kind of Nazi slogan, blood and soil? A lot of people will remember the American Nazis chanting that at Charlottesville. There's like a relationship between, blood and soil. So the idea of like the far right co-opting progressive slogans and ideas is nothing new. So you'll probably know that like, when Black Lives Matter sprung up, there were a lot of people like, well, like, don't white lives matter? Don't those matter? Like, if like black pride, but like, what about white pride? And of course, we know why you can't just flip it like that, because there's like a totally different historical context behind those things. Like, black pride and Black Lives Matter didn't just emerge spontaneously from like the tabula rasa of the liberal Platonic void. It emerged from a particular historical context, and you can't just like flip it and like pretend that didn't happen. So I guess that would be one reason that it's like very, very different. But definitely I agree with what Rashad has said here, which is that we kind of need to be on our guard for that kind of thing. And again, that's why I put the arsonist in the video. That's why, in the third draft, he wasn't in it. And then I was writing the fourth one and I was like, oh, no, he does need to be in it. He does. And he needs to be a sincere, passionate environmentalist who, like, in my mind, did not actually start those California fires and is genuinely concerned about them. So, yeah, that's why I put him in there, because he needed to be he needed to have that. I think exactly, he needed to make exactly the point that Rashad is making there. Your Converse High says, am I the only one getting Belle Delphine vibes from him? Well, I have no idea where you're getting that impression from, but incidentally, if you do go to my merch store, you can buy my bathwater. Oh, cool, I like this music. You can still hear the background music, right? Yeah. Is it fun? You enjoying it? I may turn it up a little bit for you and down a little bit for me. Hey! Hello, Hyperbowl. Apparently a few people are coming in saying this is their first time. I think it's because I've put some tags in the video. I've like tagged this video as like climate change and so on and like science stuff. So hello, if you've just appeared in this because it showed up in your feed, welcome. My name is Ollie Thorne. I run a YouTube channel called Philosophy Tube. I make educational, artistic, fun videos. I recently made one about climate change. And now I'm doing a little live stream here talking about how it was made, what the feedback was, what I would have done differently. So if you have just found this because YouTube's recommended it to you, welcome along. You're very, very welcome here. We like things to be chill and educational and fun. So good to have you here. Feel free to stick around or not, up to you. What other comments did we have that I wanted to visit? Oh yes, this one was interesting. So, under my video on climate change, Alessandro356 left a comment that was just like straight up climate denial, which was interesting. I knew there'd be a few. They were kind of doubting that humans were really responsible for climate change. So in the video, those of you who've seen it will remember that I made there's that joke at the start. Thanks, Kerry. I may come back to that super chat later. I made that joke at the start where I said, CO2 absorbs and then re-emits infrared radiation. The reason that's bad is that the weather gets warmer and it makes everybody really horny, but it's too hot to have sex. So I deliberately, in the video, do not explain the science behind global warming. I mean, I kind of joke that I'm going to and then subvert it by saying that I don't. So I deliberately don't explain it, partly because at this point the science is so uncontested that there's no point rehashing old ground. I'm not really interested in talking to people or about people who doubt the science behind it, because I think that's kind of been done. People have already done that sort of thing before, and people are already engaged with it. So I wasn't really interested in doing that. I was more interested in the more subtle kinds of denial, where people deny like the real meaning of climate change, or deny it as an opportunity to think about the kind of society in which we live. So partly I didn't want to go over old ground, and partly because it doesn't actually matter whether human beings are responsible for climate change or not. It doesn't matter. It is happening, and it is going to kill us. So whether or not we're responsible for it, we need to fix it. We are in fact responsible for it, and we know how it works and how to stop it. But a point that Timothy Morton makes is, it doesn't matter whether we're responsible for it. Like if a truck is about to hit a child, you don't hum and haw about who built the truck and where it comes from. You save the child, right? So it doesn't matter. So that was another reason why I didn't go into it. So Carrie, thank you for your super chat, says, how do you cope with existential anxiety? How do I cope with existential anxiety? I eat ice cream, I go to the gym, I meditate, yeah, all the things that normal people do, I guess. Yeah, it's good to have you all here. I love that the video that YouTube is recommending this video to people. That's awesome. Finally, I feel like YouTube's on my side. That's cool. It's good to have you all here. Welcome along. So, what else did I have for you? That was about all the notes I had to myself. There's one patron question that I have to answer. So you may know that people who sponsor me to a certain level on Patreon get to ask me a question, which I will answer on the stream. And Chris Print asked, do they really put curry sauce on chips in England? Yes, they do. They do that. I've never had it, but they do it. Yeah. Peter Oliphant says, how do we contribute to the development of the Hamlet speedrun? I don't know. Megan McGee says, any book recommendations for those new to philosophy? Yeah, if you go to any of my videos that you enjoy, whichever one you enjoy the most, and you go into the description, you will find the bibliography and the recommended reading. That's the best place, I think. That'd be really cool. Best place to start, because it always depends on what you're curious about. Welcome along, Madison Walker. You didn't miss it. You're not late. Funnily enough, asking me how I cope with existential anxiety, after the stream was done, I threw out the cosmonaut suit. I put it in the bin. along with the knife. I threw it away. I was like, I'm not going to need this anymore. I'm letting it go. So, yeah. Here comes crunch. So people in the chat, how did you enjoy the last video? Did you or did you not? Do you have any feedback on it? And also, I guess we could also talk about the Shakespeare stream. How much did the Shakespeare stream raise? Hi to things, welcome along. How much did it raise? I can tell you exactly how much it raised. It raised £109,447, which is British pounds, or about $133,000, which was an astonishing amount of money, way more than I ever thought we would get. PayPal took a slice, which is why it's less than the final number that was displayed on screen. PayPal takes a slice to convert it all into the right currencies. So yeah, $133,000. No watermelon if I haven't seen the new Dark Crystal series. Sorry, and thank you, Jay Fowler. Yeah, I was incredibly. Yeah, the Shakespeare stream was a blast. Like, I still can't quite believe that it happened. It hasn't quite sunk in yet. Honestly, the weirdest moment was when my brother came on to play my brother in As You Like It, which I didn't know was going to happen. I woke up at like 6 a.m. We started As You Like It at 7 a.m. and Izzy said, we've got a special guest, and it was my brother playing my elder brother, which was shocking. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing in my dream? Like, this isn't really happening. You can't just come into my weird online dream life. But he was there and he was great. Yeah, it was wonderful. Haven't seen that Ibsen. Sorry for Sigrid F. And Peyton Quinn says their note about the climate grief video was I could have focused more on disability. Yes, I could have done. That's a fair cop. Thank you to Anima Visionary as well. Yeah, it was good to have. It was really cool to have my brother on, but like weird because I was like, oh wow, this is really happening. He was like, yeah, like the whole family's at home watching. Like, we love you and are proud of you. I was like, oh, this is really happening. This isn't just some kind of weird dream. I think it was I think when we were doing Hamlet, I was just like listening to the opening scene. I was like, damn, I'm in Hamlet, and so are all of my friends. Like Dan Olsen's in it, like Tom Scott's in it, like Birdkeeper Toby's in it. Like it was amazing. Irianada says, did you get my email? Probably. I'm sure you can understand. I get like many emails a day. So I probably got it. I trust myself to have dealt with it in whatever way it needed to have been dealt with. And we got like Bilbo on. Bilbo was great. Bilbo the cat came on. Yeah, Hamlet was class. Hamlet was so good. Tom Scott as the ghost was terrifying. And then when we did when we did Romeo and Juliet, like obviously having everyone on that was really, really cool. Yeah, you love to see it. You simply love to see it. I also really enjoyed. I got up at like 6 a.m. and then to do Titus Andronicus at 7, and it was 3 a.m. in Canada, and me and somebody says, how did you get Tom Scott on? Because I know Tom. Tom and I are friends. No, I haven't read How It Is. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got up at like 6:30 to do Titus Andronicus. It was 3 a.m. in Canada, and me and Dan Olsen did a 2-man Titus Andronicus, which, if you don't know it, is like really, really intense and like emotionally really intense. So we were just doing like that at like 7 a.m. in the morning. So it was just like, oh my god, like I really was so happy that my friend was there to help me through that because it was damn tough. I think the hardest one was probably Richard III. Because it's long, it's difficult, and there's that scene in the middle where I was Richard and Buckingham and the Lord Mayor of London and all the other characters, like in one very long, intense scene. It was like a 20-minute scene, and I couldn't like pause or drink or anything. It was just bam, 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 and that was just exhausting. Yeah, Dan did so much behind the scenes work, and so did Crystal. So that was really, really cool. So the Shakespeare stream is still up in pieces on my Twitch. If you go to Twitch, you can still see it. When I get back from holiday, I will work on getting them up on this channel on PhilosophyTube Live. I will probably put them up as plays, so like Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Henry V. Henry V was such a laugh. Like, we made it like, we don't know how Henry V ended up being hilarious, but it was. But yes, you can see it on Twitch. I will put as much of it as I can get my hands on PhilosophyTube Live when I get back from holiday. But first, tomorrow morning I'm going on holiday for a week. I'm going to relax big time, and it's gonna be nice. But yeah, Crystal and Dan did so much work, and Izzy and Alice did so much work. We're working on getting the first day of recordings. We're working on getting them for PhilosophyTube Live. So yeah, we'll put up as much as we can, and that'll be fun. And I might put up the skeleton crew and the extra bits. But yeah, obviously that's a lot of work. So you might have to be patient. Yeah. And at some point I need to make a video. I don't know what my next video is going to be about. I've deliberately not decided or started writing it yet, because I'm like, I need to take a holiday, which I'm gonna enjoy so much. I haven't had a proper holiday since like April. Haven't had like a proper day off since April. So I'm going to yeah, I'm gonna have fun. And Alice says, how are you recovering? I'm not really, to be honest. I'm not really recovering, because I did like 5. So Harry, I spoke to H-Bomber guy, who did his marathon stream a while ago, and he warned me there's a come down after it, and he was right. It was like 5 days of extremely intense, like exciting, emotional. I mean, like just going through all those emotions. Like something I told one of the journalists that I spoke to was like, going through, like living so many lives in a day, and so many very dramatic lives in a day, is exhausting on its own. Never mind lack of sleep, never mind it being like having to do all the like behind the scenes stuff of like microphone levels and so on. So it was very, very intense. And then immediately had 2 days after that of like total isolation, complete grinding repetitive task, because I had to manually accept every single donation on PayPal, which it took me like 12 hours on day 1, and then another 12 hours on day 2. I was just like, oh, such a crash. Hey, Mia Mulder's raided. She's finished her stream. And Ibumax says, who the hell are you? Welcome, Ibumax. Something has clearly happened with YouTube, and YouTube is recommending the stream to people. So, once again, welcome along. My name is Ollie Thorne. I run a YouTube channel called PhilosophyTube, where I teach philosophy in a weird, fun way. The audience is about 500,000. I'm doing a bit of a live stream about the last video I did, and also talking about a recent event that I did where I live streamed the complete works of Shakespeare over about 5 days in order to raise money for a mental health charity, and we raised about 100 grand. So that's what we're talking about. Welcome along. Good to have you here if you're new. Hey, we're being raided by Mia's chat. Welcome along, Mia gang. Good to have you here. You're clearly taking refuge from Mia's terrible opinions about Red Alert 2. No, we love to see it. Mia was an excellent Cleopatra, and among other things, Mia was also a horny satanic clown in one of them. That was in All's Well That Ends Well, which did not end well. Yeah, Mia sort of trapped me into some kind of bizarre marriage, and then like I was Volcel, and then yeah, it just wasn't. Yeah, that was a weird play. It was a real weird play. Somebody says, should we start pitching ideas for the next video? No, don't. I have a whole bunch. I've like researched some of them. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know what order these will come in, or whether they'll happen or not. But I'm thinking I'd like to. Eventually, I want to do one on queer theory, the metaphysics of time. I want to do one on video games. I want to do one on. Quite like to do one on. This idea came to me yesterday. It might be cool to do one on evangelical Christianity. I haven't done any philosophy of religion for a while. That might be fun. And I'm also thinking there's something maybe in language, in like how words change over time. There's I think something in there which I'm doing a little bit of reading on at the moment. I'm reading Gretchen McCulloch's book Because Internet, which I have here. Yeah. I'm reading this at the moment. I'm going to take it on holiday with me. I'm enjoying it. I'm only a couple of chapters in. I met Gretchen at VidCon a couple of years ago, and she was cool. So yeah. I'll see. I've got a fun idea for the one on video games that might end up maybe not involving, but you know, at least being centered around another creator who I need to speak to about it. So that'll be fun. I should have gotten a haircut before my holiday. Never mind. I'll just be shaggy. But first, holiday. Here comes crunch. Yeah. Holiday first. I've been looking forward to it. I think I missed a couple super chats. Zoe Adams says, would you ever be willing to stop eating meat and dairy to reduce your carbon footprint? So I've talked about this before. I did give up, thanks Guy Friendo for that super chat. I did give up dairy a while ago. And thank you to Irianda as well for that super chat. I'll look into that. I did give up dairy a while ago, and it totally messed with my skin. My acne like really badly flared up, because there must be something in cow's milk that is good for my skin. And as an actor and a YouTuber, I can't have acne. Otherwise, as an actor, like I just can't work. I can't you know, earn a living or have a career. So I'm yet to find a way around that. And as for meat, every now and then I go through phases of like limiting how much meat I eat and like going vegan for a little bit or vegetarian for a little bit. So yeah, I'm living the question, as Rilke would say. AC Danvers says, I hope you got some sleep. It was really fun doing All's Well Ends Well with you. I thought I'd never act again after I came out as trans. Well, I'm glad that I had to get you back on the stage, as it were. Yeah. Somebody says English Tony Stark with slightly less emotional trauma. Slightly. Have you seen all of my videos? Crunch. So, we've also got a whole bunch of stuff from the PO Box, which might be fun to open, mightn't it? So why don't we have a cheeky look? Why don't we start with... Oops. Why don't we start with this one? Here's a letter that got sent to the PO Box. It is from Melanie. I won't read out their surname, but here we go. Love these flower stickers. I don't know what's in these letters, so if they are sad or weird or horny, then I apologise. Dear Ollie, hello. I am currently writing to you from South Korea, although I originally hail from Canada. I'm writing to you to thank you for helping me rekindle a friendship. Aww. A few years ago I had a falling out with a close friend that I was really distraught about. We didn't talk for 3 years until a few months ago. Wait. To be frank, I felt that my friend's politics and agenda towards feminism were pretty abysmal. However, thanks to you, Natalie H. Bomb & Co., plus the willingness to change on my friend's part, my friend seems like a totally different person to the man I cut from my life back in 2016. That's nice. A mutual friend told me how much he'd grown, so I reached out to him again. The first thing we bonded on was your videos. Hey, that's great! You're doing a lot of good work and I'm incredibly grateful. had a lot of meaningful chats, which your videos were the catalyst for. So thank you for helping me have a more meaningful connection with the men in my life that I care about. That means a lot. Thank you, Melanie. That means a whole lot. Yeah. Litzy Reed says, sorry if this question is triggering. In your video, Men Abuse Trauma, do you think abusers in general know they're inflicting trauma? I don't know. I don't know. Thank you, Melanie. That's really nice. I'm really glad that... yeah, occasionally I do get messages like that, either from guys or from people of other genders, saying that it's sort of changed... It's changed the way that men do men, which I like, because I think my channel has helped me change how I do man. I think somebody recently talked about a need for a new ideal of masculinity, and I agree with that. But yeah. I always like those. I haven't actually seen Nat's new vid yet, but I know the sort of conclusion of it. Yeah. I like it when people get in touch with me about that sort of thing. I've made notes towards a video about masculinity, which I've never used. But maybe I will have to someday. It's a little bit too personal at the moment, and there's not enough philosophy, not enough education in what I've got. But I'm always pleased when people write to me about like how they do man and how it's changed it, which I like, because I think I've changed, and I'm changing the way I do it, which is good. It's hard. Like most of my audience are male, actually, but the most vocal ones are always people of other genders. But most of my audience are actually male, so it was yeah, it's always interesting. Anyway, let's have another one. We've got a few to get through. Boobily doodly doo. This one is for... Please read this without telling my name on the stream. Okay? If I can get into it. It's taped down quite thoroughly. Lads. Lads gang. Here come all the lads. How do I can't even get into it, so you've got no worries about me reading it on stream. Nailed it. It's funny, actually. I have a friend of a friend is a trans guy who is transitioning, and friend of a friend. I'll do it this way. So that the friend of a friend is a trans guy, and my friend is like, he's really changing. The more he goes on testosterone, he's like really changing how he looks at things, which is like interesting. It's quite tough to read this one in the... Dear Ollie... Oh. Okay, I'm not going to read... I'm not going to read that one out, I'm afraid. Thank you to the person who sent it, but remember that this feels a little harsh to say, but remember that you don't know me, that we've never met, that we kind of are not. It's a parasocial effect. It's not real. We don't really know each other, so just remember that. Sometimes people forget that, but that's okay. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. This one is from Annika in Germany. Parasocial letters. Hey. Sometimes people send me strange things. Whoa, okay, this is very difficult to read. Mm-hmm. It says maybe don't read this bit out loud, okay? Okay, Cosmonaut 2 meant a lot. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Annika. I'm glad that the videos helped. That's good. I won't read that out again because I won't read it out loud. Here we go. This one, don't know where it's from, but I think it's from America because the stamp says "Justice Forever." There's an American flag. Justice forever. I don't know if you can read that, but we assume it's from America. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so we've got some art. Okay, this looks like a Cosmonaut one, so I might not read it out loud. But okay, so I'm glad the Cosmonaut videos could help. Hmm. From Emery's. Well, thank you very much. I'm really glad that I can. I'm really glad the videos could help. All the videos on the whole stream isn't just going to be me silently reading letters, but I'm just a little choosy about which ones I read out loud. As I say, you know, it's live. It's live. I want to protect people's privacy. Sometimes people write to me about like very serious things that have happened to them, and I feel like. I don't know, I just feel like I don't want to turn that into content, if you see what I mean. You know, sometimes people write things to me that's like... Yeah, not everything is content. People write to me like about their trauma and so on, which... Also, I kind of don't really want to encourage that, because it, you know, it costs me something to read that, and it's not something I can do all night. Yeah. Always appreciate it, always happy that my videos can help. And especially if people write to me when they're like sad or lonely, or in pain, I don't want to turn those things into content. You know, I assume they would rather I didn't. Somebody says Antifa question mark? Where? Are they here? Also, you have just seen me reading aloud for like 5 days, so. Alright, this one is from Madison in USA. The stamp says, "Forever, USA. Forever! It will never end. There will never be another country on the same landmass." There will, though, won't there? It's not going to last forever. Nothing does. Here we go. Somebody says Antifa gang. Oh. There's a lot in here. There's a lot in here. Gonna open them in random order. Hello, Ollie. I hope you can read my handwriting okay. I haven't got a computer, so this is the best I can do. Then how did you watch this stream? I'm onto you. I'm onto you, Madison. I've noticed you often read sad or more personal letters to yourself. So I wrote you a letter you can read on stream. Hey, Madison's thinking of you all, chat. And a second letter with more personal things that you can read on stream if you like. Hope you're having a great day, from Madison. And also included a drawing. Oh, hey. I love it. Check this out. It's a cosmonaut, but it's also the moon from the Mighty Boosh. Which, if you haven't seen the Mighty Boosh, like, you should watch it. But like, the moon is a recurring character. So, I'm the moon. Thank you, Madison. That's really cool. So which one is, so included 2 letters. Which one is this? Greetings from Illinois, Ollie. I love your characters in your videos. See, that's parasocial separation. That's good. Arsonist has become one of my favourites lately. I think part of why he's so popular is his gentle grooming of the viewer. And bidoo. Whoa. Oh. So maybe I will read this out because it might be useful to know. It might be useful to know. I had a bit of a troubled upbringing, and I came close to being indoctrinated by white supremacists. And the arsonist is very close to how people act when they are recruiting. It starts with flattery and charm to build up their sort of target's self-confidence, and then it moves on to subtle dog whistling and introducing small seeds of conspiracies and ideologies until the target has enough curiosity to start asking for more, and that's when they've been flipped. So, okay. From his first appearance, the arsonist charms and flatters the viewer, and then progressively uses more and more doublespeak until at the end of the video, he offers the olive branch to the viewer to join him in fascism and racial ideology. People with sharp ears can pick out the dog whistles, but might still be somewhat susceptible to his charm, especially if they're American, because tropes lead us to view English people as either moustache-twirling villains or classy romantic leads. I also enjoy the firefighter because his big beefy body is clearly visible in that wife beater, and like many fans, I want him to be my daddy. Keep up the good work, Dingus, from Madison. Thank you, Madison. That's really cool. Oh, this one says good vibes inside. Nice. And this one says the sad one. Well, I'll leave that. I'll put it in Poetry Corner, and I'll read that till the end. But yeah, I enjoy writing The Arsonist. I enjoy putting all the theory and just making it subtle and making it under the radar and making it like very chill. And actually, in the last video, we shot 3 takes of, and I can show it to you. We shot 3 takes of the Arsonist's monologue, 2 of which were very subtle, and he was like just very, like genuinely very concerned. And only in the one you saw does he get angry, and the mask kind of slips a bit, and he has to then bring it back and say that's not what I thought. And we did 3 takes, and when I was editing, I was like, the other 2 are too subtle, and people aren't going to get it. And there needs to be one where he's angry, where you sort of see him slip, and then at the end he actually uses an actual Nazi slogan. If you haven't, if you don't know, when he says people are secure in existence for their people and a future for their children, that's the only word missing from that is the word white children, and then it's a Nazi slogan. But yeah, I think we had a super chat, which Joel Corner says, I'd love to hear you talk more about asexuality. Okay, cool. I'll add it to the list. That's cool. But yeah, yes, Madison, I think your analysis is spot on. I mean, that's exactly why I write The Arsonist. I write him deliberately to be persuasive to liberals, which is cool. Apparently there are more new people here because this video is still getting recommended around YouTube. Hello, welcome to the new people. My name is Ollie Thorne. I run a YouTube channel called Philosophy Tube. Here it is, you can see it. I teach philosophy in a kind of fun way. Every time I do a video, which is once a month, I talk about my most recent video, which in this case was about climate change, and I talk about what I would have done differently and how I made it and so on. So you're very welcome to stick around. Great to have you here. Yeah, lovely to have you. Yeah, the arsonist in this one was a little bit more on the nose than usual. I use characters when I use characters when I talk, and this particular one is called the arsonist, who is an arsonist, and he's the kind of the villain usually of the piece. the villain of the philosophy video, which sounds unusual until you see it and you'll get it. Yeah, welcome along to all the new people. That's really great. But yeah, he was a little bit more on the nose this time, and that was deliberate, because in the 2 other takes he was quite subtle, and I was like, no, he needs to be. You need to make sure that I need to make sure people get it, because occasionally I get people, and I even got a comment under this video from someone be like, yeah, I agree with the newspaper guy, with the arsonist guy, I agree with him. And I'm like, no, like, don't. He's like a fascist. Like, that's the whole point, is he is the avatar of modern fascism. That's what he's supposed to represent. And in the original video where he first appeared, which was the Steve Bannon one, a few people, like, over the course, if you haven't seen that one, over the course of the Steve Bannon video, he's just a guy reading a newspaper talking about all these arson attacks, and at the end you realise that he is the arsonist and that he is trying to get you to be complicit in what he's doing. So yeah, but a few people commented under that saying that they thought he was a liberal slowly becoming a fascist, and no, the point is he's a fascist the whole time. He's an arsonist from the beginning. And he's just lying to you. For what he says in that video, that he's a travelling salesman, and for a while loads of people referred to him as the travelling salesman, and it's weird that people believed him, that people, like, everything he says is just a total lie, but people believe it. I also really enjoy writing him in such a way that he tells obvious lies. He says in this video that we're looking at now, he's like, he talks about himself as being part of the real working class, and you can tell by his voice and the way he dresses and his gold ring, you can tell he's not working class. I mean, I suppose in a theoretical sense he could be. But he says, like, oh, I came up very poor and I had no advantages in life. It's obviously not true, but it's the sort of thing where you wouldn't call someone out on that if they said it. You wouldn't say you're lying. And that's how he gets you, is he starts off with these little lies that he knows he's not going to call you out on, that you're not going to call him out on, and then he just ramps them up. So you get used to believing what he says until he's saying absolutely outrageous stuff, and you're just like, yeah, I guess, like, yeah. So yeah, I really enjoy writing the arsonist. He's always good fun to write and perform. Yeah. It's really, really fun. I enjoy him. And he always uses dog whistles in such a way that he could easily deny it. So at one point he talks about how he spent a little bit of time in the corridors of power, and there's so many shekels changing hands, and that is an anti-Semitic dog whistle. But if you challenged him on that, if he said that's an anti-Semitic dog whistle, he'd say, I'm just using shekels as a synonym for money. Like, you're seeing anti-Semitism where there is none. You're attacking me. You're trying to shut me down. Like, because he's just waiting for you to do it. So yeah, I really enjoy writing the arsonist. In my headcanon, he is the dad of another YouTube character, but I can't say who, because that's not a character that I own or that I run. But in my mind, I would love to write a crossover episode where he is somebody's dad, and we get to see what their relationship is like. So, yeah. But I can't say who because I don't own that character and I haven't discussed it with that creator. So, yeah. Crunch. Let's have another letter from the PO Box. This one is from Petra, not Kim Petras, sadly. Kim, answer my letters. I'm kidding. I had tickets to see Kim Petras on Tuesday night. I had 2 tickets, and I couldn't go because it was a Shakespeare stream. I was like, oh. I had the tickets, and it wasn't a big arena performance. It was like a really intimate show. They only sold like 150 tickets. I was like, I can't believe I missed it. I really wanted to go. But I had to miss it, and apparently it was amazing. Someday I will see Kim Petras live. Someday. Ooh, this is a long one and pretty illegible. Dear Ollie, I hope this letter finds you well. I'm new to your channel. Started watching a few weeks ago. Cool. I'm working on this letter for several days. Ooh, double-sided. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Somebody says, why didn't you postpone the stream for Kim Petras? Because I wanted it to happen over a bank holiday weekend. Like, the stream needed to happen at a certain time, and I had to get rid of the... I just had to ditch the Kim Petras because it was the only thing that happened to... that had to move. Yeah, gutted. They thought the men abuse trauma video was funny. Yeah, it was funny. I deliberately wrote it to be funny. So again, I think this person found the mental health videos really helpful. That's really good. I'm really glad. Love, Petra. Well, that's cool. And I'm going to become a therapist. Awesome. Well, thanks, Petra. That's really cool. I'm glad. Shauna Lee says the forever on American stamps means it's a set stamp value, so it's forever worth what the current stamp prices are. Forever. Forever, America. Okie dokie. Let's have another one. This one's from Matt. And it's typed. I was going to say I'm glad because Matt, your handwriting on the outside of your envelope was difficult. Hey Ollie, please don't make type letter. Cool. Oh, so content warning. Okay, so maybe I won't read this one out loud. It is hard as a cis man to find support for recovery. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. I know that. Matt from Canada says thank you. Well, again, Matt, I'm really glad that the videos could help. Like, that's awesome. It's cool. Welcome along. Welcome to the new people as well. People still coming into the stream. YouTube must have recommended it somewhere. Hello, my name's Ollie Thorne. I run a YouTube channel called Philosophy Tube. It looks like this and like this. I talk about philosophy in a fun, interesting way. And on this live stream, I talk about I talk about the last video and how I made it and what I thought about it. And I also open letters from the PO Box. So that's what we're doing. Welcome along. We've got a couple more. This one is from Oscar in Hong Kong. Finally, the algorithm is my friend. Finally, I have mastered it. I am the algorithm. To change the music. There it is. Here we go. Okay. Somebody says, will there be a post-mortem stream for the Shakespeare stream? Yeah, this is it. This is kind of it. We're kind of doing 2 in 1. 2 in 1. Dear Ollie, my name's Oscar and I'm a 19-year-old trans guy born in Hong Kong. Oh, yeah, I know your screen name. They give their screen name here. Yeah, I know it. I recognize it. I remember seeing it around. I enjoyed philosophy a lot when I was younger, but I hadn't studied it for years. Didn't think it had any practical value. Stumbled on your transphobia video and immediately closed it, thinking this is SJW bullshit. Because apparently, when I wasn't questioning my gender, I still had time to be a bit of a wanker. I went back to that video a few months later, after I came out. And I even cited it in an essay. Some people weren't really convinced, but when I showed them your abortion video, one of the things my dad said was, for an actor, he's a very good philosopher. Thank you. For a philosopher, I'm also a pretty good actor. So what the fuck do they know? Having a way to explain these concepts is really powerful, and it helped me feel more secure in my gender identity, even in the face of not being able to fully transition and be out. So thank you. What I like most about your channel is the way you approach ideas and how to convey them to others. When I showed your abortion video to my parents, they objected to the fact that you used jokes and theatre to explain what could have explained in half the time, and they thought it cheapened the message. I'm sure you're familiar with that argument, and I kind of understand it. Video essays aren't everyone's cup of tea. And whilst it's always fun to watch you act the fuck out of well-written characters in elaborate costumes, I think the core at the heart of every video, even the bookcase talking head ones, is your intellectual honesty. Encouraging people to take ideas further in various ways beyond just watching the video, the ability to link centuries-old philosophers to modern-day problems comprehensively, saying, I'm curious about, instead of, this person is wrong about, are really unique little touches that make your videos insightful and clever, even if I don't always agree with everything in them. It probably also explains why my and many others have found the community of fans you've built to be so loving and supportive, because you create an atmosphere of curiosity, humility, and love of learning that not many others would even think to cultivate. I'm really glad you say that, because that's like, you've totally summarized exactly what I try and do. Like, that is exactly what I try to do, is like have that curiosity. Yeah, curiosity, not ambition, and not to have a competitive attitude towards it. So I'm really glad you say that. And I do try and make it fun and accessible and different. So thank you. I'm so glad that you've picked up on that. I wanted to write for you for a while. I didn't think I had anything to say. I watched your video on suicide. First off, I'm really jealous how well written and pasted it is. Thank you. I was pretty pleased with it on like an artistic level. Oh. And the second one was very helpful. Your second video on abuse and being a man who's been in an abusive relationship helped me understand what rationalizing means. And what being dependent on someone else for how you see yourself means. And having things that your abuser said replay in your head. Yeah, I know exactly what that's like. The tone of voice, the delivery, the way they look, the way they turn their head. I know how deeply that sticks. You remember it so clearly. I know, I do. Oh! Yeah, mine said the same thing. That last one. I'm sure you believe that. Yeah, mine said the same. Missing out on things helped me understand what it meant. Abusers writing the script for the voice in your head. Yeah. And nightmares. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. I have fewer nightmares now about my abuser. Yeah. It's very rare now. I've learned a great deal. I feel like the galaxy brain meme. One of the first reactions I had to your video was anger at how someone could do all of that and then still try and get in touch like nothing had happened. Yeah, it's a mystery, isn't it? Yeah. I and so many others are really happy you're in a safer place, and I'm really proud of you for making that video and changing your style to what you wanted it to be after so long. Lots of parasocial love from Oscar. Oscar, mate, I think that's one of the best letters I've ever gotten. That's one of the best bits of fan mail I've ever gotten, mate. You're just right on the money. You really got my number. I'm sorry your mum and dad didn't like it, and I'm sorry if they didn't like some more serious things. But yeah, I'm really glad you say that, because like about like how I do the work, because that's exactly how I try and approach it, is to make it curious and to make it fun, to not do that sort of competitive Ben Shapiro thing, just using him as an example. Mate, you're a legend. Cheers, Oscar, and I do recognise your screen name. I've seen you around before, and I'll see you around, mate. We stan, Oscar. Oh, honestly, like, that's definitely one of the best letters I've gotten. If you just joined us, welcome along. We're opening some letters from the PO Box. Oscar, mate, you're a beast. Alright, we got two more. Here's one from Jacob in Vermont. I know nothing about Vermont other than that it's the home of Bernie Sanders and cheese. And that's it. That is it. Oscar's actually in the chat now. They have not identified themselves, but I recognise the screen name. So, hi. Good to have you here, mate. Ooh, there's a lot here. Dear Ollie, if this looks too long for stream, it's not sad or horny, but it's very wordy. The main question is blocked off on the last page. Okay, so this is pretty long. This person studied music competition. So, alright, maybe I will, whoa, okay. It's all falling out. From Jake. As a musician, I've always had great concern for how art is received by an audience that might not be artistic. Oh, that they might not be artistic themselves. Yeah, fair enough. I wonder that too. Is that... hang on, I don't quite understand this. Is that concern for innate human or common or broad appeal relevant to any philosophy or concept you recommend exploring? I can't think of any off the top of my head, Jake. I don't know, but I understand what you mean about like wanting your work to be accessible to people and like wondering how it's going to be received by people who aren't necessarily in the field. I mean, whenever I write a script, that's something that I always wonder. Huh. So Jake's actually written a song for me. And also analysed my singing. Thanks, Jake. Somebody says the falsetto in Goodbye Dr. P might not be me. No, that's me. But it is doubled. Oh, so they've written a song for me. Oh. Have you given me notes? Have you given me notes on my goddamn singing like a music teacher? Ollie seems like a capable bartender and is noticeably improving each time. Instincts after acting may sacrifice vocal technique to emote. Probably has a larger range than he realizes. Stronger on a studio than a stage musical? Get out of town. I've done way more stage musicals. You cheeky git. So, Jake's actually written a song and also included a link where I can listen to what it's supposed to sound like. Well, I will do that. Alright. Alright, I'll listen to that and see how it goes. I appreciate the effort. Like, that's a lot of effort to go to. And I appreciate the professional notes on my music. Just absolute roasting my singing voice. No, fair enough. Are you Mr. Neil, my music teacher? Mr. Neil, is that you? Do you just write to me? Bloody Nilo. No, alright. Thank you, I really appreciate that. That's awesome, and I'll have a listen to that after the stream is done. Hey. Don't know if you heard that. Somebody just drove past. Alright, we're here for the last one. It's a package. Did they grade you? Almost, yeah. It's B-. No. I can't play you the song because I can't put it through the pipes of the computer. But I will listen to it afterwards. They've just sent me the sheet music and a link to where I can listen to it. But I will. Okay. Dear Ollie, everyone needs a good hat that fits. Ha ha ha! The arrogance of anyone who thinks they can create a hat that fits my enormous head. Everyone needs a good hat that fits. This was hand knitted by me, but I used yarn from my stash, so you're not allowed to feel guilty. It's machine washable too. Enjoy, from Charlie. That's pretty cool. I'm worried I'm going to get makeup on it, but alright. What up? How's it going, folks? My name's PewDiePie. It's time for some, what's the game you used to play? Happy Wheels. It's time for some anti-Semitic jokes, which I'll then work back from. Well, now I'm a true YouTuber because I've got a wool cap. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you very much, Charlie. That's very cool. Oh, they're in the chat as well. Cheers, Charlie. Alright, well, thanks very much. That's cool. I actually do need a hat for when it gets cold again. And then I can just, or if I need to go to an audition looking slightly more relaxed than I usually do. That'd be cool. People think my PewDiePie impression is cursed. I know it is. I used to do. I'm a bit rusty. I used to do quite a good PewDiePie. It's been a while. It has been a while since I've done it, but maybe I'll find an occasion to use it for a video at some stage. I did it once in a very old video. Very, very old. My first year I did a PewDiePie impression, but maybe I can wheel it out again at some point. Here comes your breakfast. Yeah, I used to have his number. It's been a while. Someday, I don't know why I looked around as if there's movie producers lurking behind my bed. Someday, they will make a PewDiePie movie. You know they will. They'll just call it PewDiePie the movie. They'll make it. They'll make a biopic of PewDiePie. And when they do, they're going to need an actor who can do an impression and who knows what YouTube is. So someday they will make a PewDiePie movie, and I want to be in it. I want to be that actor because I can do it. I'm there. Like, get me in the room. I'm going to tell my agent, get me in the room. I can do it. Like, bring it on. Oh my god! Oh my god! If I do my video on video games, yes, 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 that's the time to do it. Ah, that's the time to finally bring out the PewDiePie impression. Yes, yes. Someday I will do it. It'll happen. Yes, brilliant. What a plan. Yes, Belle, your Audrey cosplay was very good, thank you. Brilliant. I will find some. I'll find some footage and put myself in the like. It'll end up looking like I'll be happy over here in the corner with my hat. In fact, I can even use this hat in the video. Hashtag price. Let me see if I can find some Happy Wheels. I don't know what this is gonna look like. Let's just go. This is just some dude. No, never mind. But yeah, it'll look like this. The Spider-Man challenge. Who's Jelly? I can just move myself over like this. My name's PewDiePie. Time for some Armageddon. Have fun on the chain. See, easy. Got it down. Absolutely got it down. Brilliant. Done. Eminem says, I take back everything I said in my letter. You're cancelled and I'm terrified. But yeah, I mean, you know, these are just the skills I've got. This is the mimic skills I've got. Charlie, this is your fault. Okay, I won't do it again. Thank God this isn't Twitch, or we'd be somebody would be clipping it. This is so fun. Can Natalie play Marcia? That would be very funny. They just got married. Congratulations to them on their marriage. You're too focused on whether you could. The question is whether you should. Someday I will. I'll work on it. I'll polish it up. And I'll see if I can get a PewDiePie impression in a video. I'd have to like dye my beard or something. This music, by the way, is from Chris Zabriskie from the album Direct to Video. Some people saying, can you do any other gamer YouTubers? Maybe. I mean, I could just. The alternative is I just bring back Drivel, and I just make Drivel a gaming YouTuber. That could be fun. But then, I don't know. Is it as funny as doing a PewDiePie? If I can get a really good PewDiePie thing. Oh, by the way, some people are saying, how does your chin feel? Which is a reference to Asdf movie 12. If you are familiar with the Asdf movies, it just came out. Asdf movie 12 just came out, and I'm in it. So, yeah, it's good. Edward JR says, what do you think of ContraPoints? I'm pro. But yeah, so okay, cool. Do an H-bomb impression. Harry's too idiosyncratic to impersonate. I couldn't do it. He's too. Also, I don't have the right build. I'm not the right casting. Honestly, you do kind of look like PewDiePie, kind of. Yeah, I mean, we don't look alike, but we are the same casting. Like, if you were to cast an actor to play PewDiePie in a movie, like I could do it. I'm in the right casting. Like, I'd have to like dye my hair and get a haircut and so on. But yeah, I could do it. I'm in the right casting, which is why I want to make sure I get my PewDiePie impressions down, so that I can play him in the movie, because they will make it. Somebody says Ollie won't be in the H-bomb biopic. Of course I will. I'll be in it. I'll be playing myself in the H-bomb biopic, and Scarlett Johansson will be playing Harry. But yes, I am in Asdf movie 12. I have a line in that. I originally had another line, but it got cut and Tom did it himself, so fine. Okay, well, I could get some contact lenses to play PewDiePie. That would be fun. But also, like, he's not going to see it. Like, I suppose it's always punching up, given that he's like the second biggest channel. Depends what I want to do with it. Depends what I do with it. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be playing myself in the biopic of Harry. In the movie of the Donkey Kong stream, with Scarlett Johansson as Harry, I'll play myself. Eddie Redmayne will play everyone else. Eddie Redmayne will play all of the trans people that were involved. All of them. Who will all be combined into one character. Yeah. But yes, we have now reached the music that we like to end on. So we'll hang out for like 3 more minutes. Then I might go and get some food. I might get some ice cream or something. That might be fun. That'll be good. Yeah. Pewdosophy tube. Love it. It would be a bit of a change of direction for me to do an impersonation of somebody who actually exists, as opposed to like create a parody. But I guess PewDiePie is so idiosyncratic that maybe it would work. Maybe I'd do it as like a joke, like a one-off thing. Yeah. Somebody says, would you respond to a letter if somebody sent a pre-stamped and addressed envelope? No. I wouldn't have time. And also I would feel slightly weird doing that. Somebody says, do you still do university visits? Yes, I do have some slots available in the next couple of months to come and speak at universities. I am unfortunately unable to do any more unpaid work, so yeah. Anyway, get in touch and we can negotiate that. Yeah, I mean, I created a character. The character of Tom Gently was an obvious parody of Ben Shapiro. So yeah. So Mix Vivian Wolf said, why did the Times report on the Shakespeare stream? So if you didn't know, the Times, the kind of main big newspaper in the UK, interviewed me for Hey Michelle Disraeli. The Times interviewed me for the Shakespeare stream. And it was nice of them to do that, and I appreciated it. And like my aunt and uncle saw it, and my godparents saw it, and they messaged me saying, "Oh, we saw you in the paper." I was a little disappointed. I mean, it wasn't the Times who interviewed me; it was a freelance journalist who interviewed me, who I think works with the Times, and then she pitched it to the Times, and they, from what I understand, edited it down hugely. And I took pains to stress to the interviewer, who was very sympathetic and kind. I was like, "Look, both producers are trans. We've got so many trans people involved in the stream. Like Juliet is trans, like Cleopatra was trans. That was Mia, by the way. And Brutus, Antonio, Ferdinand. So many trans and NB people involved." And I said, please, I'd love that to be mentioned because I know what the British media is like with trans people, and this is really good. And unfortunately, the editors cut it. They cut it down. They didn't really say all that much about why the stream happened in the first place. It was mainly just about like, oh hey, like Shakespeare, which I guess is fine. I understand why they did it, because it's they've got to make their own kind of hashtag content. So I understand how editing decisions get made and so on, but it was a real shame that happened, because it was a real opportunity to showcase all the amazing trans people that are in it. And all the journalists I've subsequently spoken to, I have stressed that. I spoke to a guy from the BBC the other day, who's going to pitch his editor something, and I said, I'd really love to include this, and he was like, yeah, I think we could. So yeah, all the other journalists I have spoken to and will speak to, I will make sure that I stress that there are a lot of trans people involved who deserve credit for it. Yeah, it was a shame. But it was also a good opportunity for me to talk to my aunt about trans rights, because she messaged me saying, "Oh, your uncle and I, we saw you in the paper," and I was like, "Yeah, Auntie, I was a bit disappointed. It was nice of them, but they didn't mention this." And she, what did she say? She messaged me back. My auntie is well, I love my auntie a lot. She said, "Good, you had huge support from the trans community. Shame it wasn't mentioned. Enjoy your well-deserved rest." So good chance for me to kind of broach that with the fam. But yeah, some people said they also picked a weird picture of you. The Hamlet sweater outfit was obviously the hottest. I think they picked the one because it had the Samaritans logo in it, but I enjoyed the Hamlet look too. That was good fun. The Hamlet one and the Romeo and Juliet looks were the only ones I put any effort into. I wanted to make sure I looked good for that because I knew people would come and watch them back. But I think we are reaching the end of the stream. So I will say thank you to everyone for coming out. I have to be up early in the morning to go on holiday. I cannot wait. Oh my word, that's going to be so good. Oh yeah, I did put a little bit of effort into the Henry V one. Somebody says, what's the next video? I have no idea. I don't know. I'm going to go on holiday first and then I'm going to worry about it. It might not even come out in September. I don't even know. I need to relax. I haven't had a day off since April. So, time to rest. And I will come back and do something fun. And, yeah, okie dokie. I'm going to have such a holiday, the likes of which I have not had in far too long. Okie dokie. I will go and I may even have some ice cream. Thank you everyone for coming out. Have a wonderful evening. Wherever you are. Mia, you're cancelled for your incorrect opinions on Red Alert 2. But everyone else, have a great night. I'm kidding. You're good. And I will see you all on the internets.